Hi guys! Today's book is called Aunt Belle's Beach. It's written by Marjory Wunsch, so big thank you to Marjory. And it's kind of a funny book. And when I read this book to my kids, they like me to do a funny voice. So today I'm going to do a southern accent for Aunt Belle. And Aunt Belle, wait a second. We do have a mystery surprise guest. I think Aunt Belle is here with us. Hi, Aunt Belle! Hello! Oh, thanks for coming to read with us. All right, let's get started on this book. Do you guys have like a crazy aunt or a funny aunt or there's the perfect word, a busybody? A busybody, like maybe a person in your life who's a little loud and maybe embarrasses you sometimes. Well, this is Aunt Belle. Aunt Belle is a little embarrassing. Let's get started. Okay, Aunt Belle found her favorite patch of sand and shook her beach chair open with a loud thwack. There, Rosa, she said, tying a huge balloon to the back of her chair, so you'll always know where to find me. Why don't you keep your robe on today, Rosa suggested, so you won't get a sunburn. But it didn't do any good. Oh, I think I'll catch a few rays, said Aunt Belle. She wiggled out of her beach robe, then twirled around so Rosa could admire her new bathing suit. Oh boy, Aunt Belle. Rosa built a sand castle. Aunt Belle acted as if she owned the beach. Hey, you there, she shouted. How about slam dunking that candy wrapper into that litter basket? Hey, little girl at the shower, are you taking the whole beach home with you? Better give yourself a good rinse. Oh, Aunt Belle. Time for our beach walk, Aunt Belle announced. She marched down to the shore. Don't swim too soon after you eat, she warned the picnickers. Use sunscreen number 15, she cautioned two sunbathers. Rosa shuffled along behind her. By the time they reached the jetty, her cheeks were hot, and it wasn't from the sun. Oh, Rosa's a little bit embarrassed by her aunt. Hey, young man, shouted Belle. Oh, gosh, you're not supposed to be out there. Don't you know the rules? The man seemed not to hear. Aunt Belle screamed even louder. Young man, you're not supposed to be out there. Don't you know the rules? Oh, my goodness. I think Aunt Belle is embarrassing Rosa. This time the man turned. A whistle hung around his neck. He held a large sign. Keep off the rocks. He was the lifeguard. Oops, murmured Aunt Belle. Rosa dropped to the ground in a frantic search for hermit crabs. And Rosa was so embarrassed, she just pretended to look for hermit crabs. Because her aunt is so loud and so embarrassing. Uh-oh, what's Aunt Belle doing now? As Aunt Belle flipped through a magazine, Rosa worked on her sandcastle. For a while, the only sound was Aunt Belle's balloon flapping in the breeze. But the calm didn't last too long. Swim time, said Aunt Belle. Aren't you gonna warm up with me, Rosa? Do a few jumping jacks? Aunt Belle breathed deeply, touched her toes 5 times, and did 20 jumping jacks. Rosa was sure the whole beach was staring. Oh my goodness, look at Aunt Belle. She's doing jumping jacks on the beach. And sure enough, I think the whole beach is looking. Oh no, and Rosa's so embarrassed. She's like, oh, please make her stop. Rosa waded up to her ankles and slowly wet her arms and legs. Aunt Belle plunged right in. When Rosa looked around, she had disappeared. There were lots of people in the water, even the lifeguard with his swimming class, but no Aunt Belle. Okay. All right, everybody, let's see some serious back floating, said the lifeguard. No one in the class could do the back float. The children began to fidget. Rosa searched for Aunt Belle as the lifeguard gave another demonstration. His class was still confused. Oh, my goodness. Look at Rosa. I'm going to actually scoot this book over here, Scoochie, because the sun is in my way here. Okay, that should be better. Okay, they were even more puzzled when a small flowered island suddenly appeared. The island grew bigger and bumpier. Aunt Belle had surfaced. Oh my goodness, look, she popped up in the middle of the lifeguard's swim class. "How you doing?" she greeted the lifeguard as she waved to Rosa. Fine, thanks," he answered, then tried to get on with his lesson. "Okay, kids," he shouted, "back to the back float." "Oh, don't mind me," said Aunt Belle. She watched as 8 children flung themselves backward, looked up in the sky, and then began to sputter and sink. "Tss, tss, tss," said Aunt Belle. "Hold on, everyone. I'll be right back." The lifeguard scowled. He was like, who is this woman interrupting? Oh my goodness, what is Aunt Belle doing now? She's so wild. Aunt Belle rushed to her chair, untied the balloon, and then hurried back to the swimming class. She tied the balloon around her waist. "Watch," said Aunt Belle, relaxing into a back float. "Just pretend a huge balloon is attached to your belly button, and that balloon is pulling you up, up, up to the sky." The children began to giggle and scream. "Thank you, lady," snapped the lifeguard, "but I'll teach the class if you don't mind." Miss Aunt Belle, she's a busybody. Oh, look at poor Rosa over there. She's so embarrassed by her busybody aunt. She's like, "Oh, Aunt Belle, please just leave everybody alone." Okay. Aunt Belle shrugged and walked back to her chair. "If you lie down right here," said Rosa, "I can bury your feet in the sand." "Sure, honey," Aunt Belle agreed. She yawned, rolled a beach towel into a pillow, and laid down. In no time at all, she was snoring. Hey, little reader, if you had to guess, would Aunt Belle be a loud snorer or a quiet snorer?
Loud.
Loud, because everything Aunt Belle does is pretty loud. Let's see. Rosa buried Aunt Belle's feet, then her legs, then her belly, then her chest, till she looked like a range of sandy mountains. As she stepped back to admire her work, she heard a sniffle behind her. "I'm lost," cried a small boy. "I want my mommy." Oh no, the little boy got lost. Uh-oh, who jumped up from her sleep? Aunt Belle's eyes popped open. The mountains of sand began to slip and slide. Like an earthquake, she sprang into action. "Oh, don't worry, dearie," Aunt Belle told the frightened boy. "We'll find your mommy. Just come with me. What did you say your name was?" "Oh, my name is Oliver," blubbered the little boy. Aunt Belle set out with Oliver. Rosa could still hear his sobs. They reminded her of the time that she got lost in the supermarket. Have you guys ever got lost before? Pretty scary when you lose your family member or whoever you're with. Okay. Oh, look at Rosa. What is she doing? Rosa ran to the lifeguard's empty chair and found his megaphone. Would he get mad if she touched his things? She looked back at Oliver, then she picked up the megaphone. Sometimes you just had to be a busybody. With a bell-like voice, Rosa boomed, "Attention, please! Attention, please! We have a lost boy named Oliver who wants his mother. Would Oliver's mother please come to the lifeguard's chair? Thank you!" Aunt Belle and Oliver rushed back to Rosa. "What a good idea," said Aunt Belle. Then she stared down the beach. Rosa stared with her. Oliver sniffled. Finally, a frantic woman came racing toward them. "I'm coming, Oliver," she said. "Thank you so much," said Oliver's mother as she gave him a big hug. Aunt Belle smiled. "Rosa to the rescue," she said, and then Rosa smiled back and whispered in Aunt Belle's ear. Aunt Belle grinned and nodded. "Wait right here," she told Oliver and his mother. Then she hurried to her chair and returned with the balloon. "Here, Oliver," she said. "We don't really need this. Now you'll never get lost again." It's time for us to pack up," said Aunt Belle as Oliver and his mother went back to their umbrella. Rosa checked their things. Aunt Belle folded up her beach chair. Then they headed for the car. While Aunt Belle directed traffic out of the parking lot, Rosa took a last look at the beach. In the water, some children were finally floating on their backs, and Rosa just knew they were thinking of their belly buttons being pulled up by balloons. Up, up, up to the sky.
There's the balloon.
There's the balloon. Let's see it. Yep, there's the balloon. So maybe Aunt Rosa did teach those kids. I mean, not Aunt Rosa, Aunt Belle. Aunt Belle, you saved the day.
Yes, I did.
Thank you for reading with us, Aunt Belle.
There I am.
There you are. I hope you guys liked that crazy book, The Crazy Aunt Belle's Beach. Thank you again, Miss or Aunt Belle.
You're welcome.
Come back and read with us soon. And if you're going to the beach this summer, have fun and don't get lost. Maybe you could bring a balloon so you don't get lost. And practice your back float. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you, little reader.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.